What's up, y'all? This is episode 47 of Shoe Booty Sports. That is the John Lynch episode for you folks keeping up at home because who else is going to be 47, right? In sports. Can you think of another one besides John Lynch? I can't personally, but I'm your host, Graham Powell. My co host, Bradley Brown, is not going to be joining us this week. So I'm going to be riding solo, doing the first solo Shoe Booty Sports episode. So we'll see how it goes. Going to be a lot of me talking. You're going to have to bear with me while I take my coffee sips and water sips and all that. I could do the little cough button and all that, but let's just go live and just have fun with it and see what happens. And the throat clearing and all that too. But we will start off, we as in me, I'll start off by giving a quick shout out to our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, Shoe Booty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. You can sign up there on the website, run your race at your convenience, track your race with your fitness app, take a screenshot of your results from that race, and go to rhinoraces.com and submit your results there on the website. All you have to do is submit the screenshot and insert your time. And once that race is verified by Rhino Races staff, they send you your award by mail at the shipping address that you provide. And just like that, you receive your award by mail, and boom, there you go. That easy. Easy peasy. RhinoRaces.com. Also, check out their gear section. They have t shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. If you're watching us on Spotify and YouTube, you can check out the Rhino Races shirt I'm rocking here. Very comfy navy tee with their beautiful logo on the front. And yeah, I mean, it's a very comfy tee. Love it. Again, rhinoraces.com. It's where it's at. It's the premier virtual race series, the premier virtual running series out there. Definitely go check it out. Rhinoraces.com. Also, you can find Shoe Booty Sports on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcast, the Wisdom app. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and find us on Twitter at Shoe Booty Sports. Now, as I take a quick sip of my still can't talk, quick coffee break so I can take a sip here real quick. So just bear with me. Ah, I won't do that too much. Don't worry. So this is going to be a very pro football heavy episode, and we'll start with the most recent games, the Monday night football games. Buff first game, which by the way, a weird format, kind of not playing they were playing at the same time, but Philly's game started later as opposed to recent years past, where it was they had an early game. By early, I mean it was like 6:15 or so, like the Buffalo game was, and then the other would follow. And granted, it would be really late, by the time you you'd go to bed or by the time the games were over, right? So I guess they wanted to cut that out. I'm not obviously not inside brass there at NFL headquarters to figure out what they were wanting to do with the scheduling there, but yeah, you had two games going on at once, so I basically caught the end of the Philly game. I'll kind of tell you how it went for me, but yes, I watched the. My mother came into town, staying out of town at my grandma's, so I of course get invited to come down, eat dinner, hang out with the mom and grandma. I go down, do that, and I say, "Hey, let's watch the Monday Night Football game." Right? Obviously, the Bills. Josh Allen's my fantasy quarterback. Rock on, I know, killing it there. About the only spot I'm killing it in, but that's a different story. But yes, Bills taking on the Titans, and I watched the first half, and it's the Bills are up. It's a fairly close game, and it's late. I have an early shift the next day. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Still gotta go because I live 20 minutes away. Had to go get my dog, uh, who was being who was being watched by a friend. Shout out Haley. And so I go get my dog, go home, turn on the TV, and the Bills are up. 41-14, I believe it was. So now, granted, this all took probably an hour for me to get home because it was into the fourth quarter. Allen was on the bench and Malik Willis was playing for the Titans, understandably so. But yes, I mean the Bills look like the best team in football, in all of football right now. The experts said they had the best roster coming into the season, and the experts are looking like experts 2 weeks in. The Bills look like the team to beat, Super Bowl favorites. That's how Vegas has it. And if you're watching them, how could you say otherwise? Josh Allen looks like he has completely figured it out. He is as talented as anybody in the league at the quarterback position. He's got the skill set. He's got it all. Him and Mahomes. I mean, those are the two, and of course those are the two Super Bowl favorites according to Vegas. But Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, man, that's probably that I can't think of a better 1-2 punch in the league right now. Josh Allen and Diggs, man, that is just a gosh. You can't, it's coming. You still can't stop it, type of thing. But the Bills are. I mean, they look the part, man. I don't see a weakness. I'm sure there is one, but it's hard to find. I have not been able to see it. They look like the best team in football, and I'm going to watch them every chance I get. They're that good. They're worth checking out. And how could you root against the Bills, right? I mean, haven't won a Super Bowl. Lunatic loyal fans. Bills Mafia. How do you? I don't see how you could root against those guys in that organization. Small market area, freezing cold, Buffalo, New York. This would be a hell of a story. If the Bulls, if the Bills just continue on, just dominate their way through the regular season and carry that into the postseason. Of course, we're a long way. We have a long way to go till we get there. As you all know, injuries can happen. So don't get your hopes up too high if you're a Bills fan. Plus, you never know what can happen in playoff football and the other great teams as well. Chiefs, Super Bowl champions in their own right. A lot of other teams coming on we'll get into. But right now, the Bills look like the prohibitive favorite, as they should be. And we will jump to another game. Uh, San Francisco. San Francisco has lost their starting quarterback for the season. Trey Lance getting hurt, broke his ankle, I believe. And he is out for the year. He just had season-ending surgery. I believe yesterday it was. Yesterday being Monday. It is currently Tuesday, September 20th. Coming at you late this evening. Graham had a dentist appointment, so they had to clean the teeth up, get them looking all nice and pretty, which they did. Shout out Aspen Dental, by the way. But it's the 49ers may have lost their starting quarterback for the season, but it's kind of hard to say that because they replaced him with Jimmy G, who's been the starting quarterback for the last several years, as we all know now. And I think it's easy. You could easily say the players in that locker room believe it. And I think anybody that halfway follows the team will believe that the 49ers are better off this way, at least with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Obviously, you don't wish anybody to get hurt, but Jimmy G gives them the best chance to win right now. Trey Lance has just not looked good in the 2 games or 1.5 games we've seen him play. Week 1, and we knew this would happen. You can't complete 50% of your passes in pro football and expect to be successful. And that's Trey Lance. He's going to miss some throws, and Jimmy G will too, but he'll make more than Trey Lance will, without a doubt. But Jimmy G gives them the best chance to win right now. I think if you're a 49ers fan, one, you're thrilled that the Niners held on to him, that they found a way to hang on to him, because Jimmy G didn't even think he was going to be the quarterback of the 49ers, right? Going into this season. He thought he'd be on another team. Why would you not think that if you were him or the organization? but coffee break. Don't worry, it's decaf. It's 9:44 p.m. Central Time here in Central Arkansas. So I got to rock the decaf because another early morning shift. But 49ers are better off right now with Jimmy G, and it's going to be fun to see what happens with them. I'm gonna naturally pay more attention to them now, not just because I have Deebo Samuel on my fantasy team, and I think he's about as good of a player at his position as anybody else in the league. Debo's really talented and fun to watch, but he will the not only the entire team will benefit with Jimmy G at quarterback, but most definitely Deebo Samuel will as well. I expect to see his production go up too. And shaking the camera a little bit there. Sorry about that. For you folks watching us at home, we will jump to the Bucks Saints game. Tom Brady finally got a win in New Orleans, or just against New Orleans. He was 0-6 against the Saints going into this game, and it looked like they may have been on their way to, or he would be on his way to 0-7. Bucks didn't look good offensively. A lot of that had to do with the Saints, man. The Saints had a good game plan. I don't know what it was, but I mean it worked. Whatever it was they were doing was working. And that's just been the history of Tom, and no matter what team he's on, when he plays the Saints, man, that's kind of sort of how it's gone. And yeah, they didn't look good early, but things changed at a certain point in the game and some of any of you know what I'm talking about if you watch the game. The When the fight happened, the tide turned. Marshawn Lattimore is running his mouth. Bruce Arians appeared to have escalated it. He looked to be the reason it became what it did. But Bruce Arians is mouthing at him. Tom Brady's walking by as this happens. Of course, Tom Brady goes over to him and he's mouthing back, and you can read lips and figure out what Tom's saying. He's no punk out there. He's the GOAT and he knows it, and he's gonna act like it out there too. And Fournette gets involved, gets shoved, and of course Mike Evans sees this Brady over there and just runs over and just somebody say, they say he threw a punch. Watching it or in the commentary, people need to go look up what a punch is. He shoved him to the ground, and then I mean he shoved him hard, ran and shoved him, kind of blindsided him. I mean, you can go watch the footage, see for yourself, but melee ensues, and yeah, it ends up Mike Evans getting kicked out. I don't know. I think Lattimore did too, Marshawn Lattimore. But Mike Evans, I don't know. I know he's suspended next week against the Packers. Brady didn't like that, of course, saying it was ridiculous. I don't know if he should have been suspended or not. You probably needed to, just to send a message like, "Hey, you can't do this." I get it. Even though Mike Evans is on my fantasy team, I get it. I get why you'd suspend him. You don't want this to become the norm. We've had enough fights in training camp. Aaron Donald double double wielding helmets, swinging at helicoptering them at people, and intra squad scrimmages, and if that's the right term for it. Yeah, forgive me if it's not. Or don't, whatever. But yeah, I guess I'm okay with the suspension. Of course, Brady's going to say he's not. Why wouldn't he? Top target and trying to go 3-0 against the Packers, who are trying to get it together. It helped with a win against the Bears on Sunday Night Football. Saw a lot of that game, but a lot of it was kind of what I expected. Packers being the better team and just Rodgers owning the division. Didn't last week, but he did Sunday night, absolutely for sure. But yeah, Either way, they may have struggled going back to the Bucks. They may have struggled, but still they're 2-0. 2-0 and doesn't have to be pretty, man, as long as you get the win. But Bucks 2-0 now. Brady gets his first win against the Saints. About time, right? So, yeah, I mean, Bucks will be trending in the right direction. Just keep, just keep winning. There you go. Talk about trending downward though. Cincinnati Bengals, man. Super Bowl hangover appears to be very much intact, right? It it didn't it hasn't looked good for 2 weeks. As bad as they were last week, they should have won the game. Unfortunately, it's special team woes for them. Special teams woes for them kicking, but they didn't deserve to win last week. They didn't deserve to win with how bad they played, and and it just shows where they're at, losing to a Dallas Cowboys team that isn't very good to begin with, and on top of that, they played without their starting quarterback. Cooper Rush is the one that led the Dallas Cowboys to a victory over the AFC champion Bengals. So the Super Bowl hangover is still very much intact. They still can't protect Joe Burrow. It even has been. It's even to the point of making me question. I mean, does he hang on to the ball too long? Like, what's the deal here? Because the supposed revamped offensive line just isn't cutting it. But I think it's mostly just offensive line can't protect him. But they need to figure something out to where they're getting the ball out of his hands quicker. Otherwise, just you're gonna just see him banged up again, or figure something out. Make more moves, man. I can't do it now, obviously, but you're gonna have to figure something out. I'm sure they're on it, but man, that's not good. That's not a good sign if you're a Bengals fan. Losing to Cooper Rush and the Cowboys go to 0-2 after me and many others thought the Bengals are just going to get better. They're just going to be better. Hasn't been the case. Has not been the case at all. Tell you who has gotten better though. At least after what we've seen so far. Granted, we know still early. It's not a big overreaction, but we got to call what we see, right? And the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, they look like a very balanced, solid team. I mean, you knew going in, right? They're gonna be the favorites in their division because what are they up against, right? Just three other seemingly terrible teams. Although Washington's not as bad as I figured they would be. I really didn't know what they would be though. I figured Carson Wentz was an improvement on what they had last year. I can't even remember the guy's name, and that's not a knock on him, but they weren't going anywhere with him at quarterback. And it's just Carson Wentz upgrade there. Like, okay, all right. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Haven't watched them, but I mean, I see the scores, see the stats. Okay, like I see what you're doing there, and it's an improvement. But Philly looks good. They made what I thought was a really good Vikings team. I said last week, 12-win team. Like I'm all in on that. Not quite ready to jump off that bandwagon yet, but it's not looking good, right? A lot of it was we saw primetime Kirk Cousins on Monday night is essentially what it was. We saw primetime Kirk Cousins. Anytime it's a big game at night on primetime TV, it's like Kirk Cousins knows it, man. It gets in his head, and he looked bad. I mean, he looked bad. He looked like uh, I I kind of equate it to okay. I haven't played Madden in a decade. I haven't played Madden regularly in over a decade. It's closer to 2 than a decade. Probably like 15 years, right? So if I were to get on there now and just try to play on whatever device, PS5 or whatever, whatever they have now, and I put it on all Madden. That's what I that's what Kirk Cousins looked like against Philly's secondary last night. And what was it? Darius Slay is the guy's name. Forgive me if I get the name wrong, but man, what a game he had last night. Eagles look good, man. They look the part, and I whiffed hard on Jalen Hurts, man. I did not see, even when he was in college, his first year at Alabama. I was like he's a really good college quarterback. Man, I don't see a pro. I don't see a pro quarterback. I figured he could play in the NFL. I just didn't think he'd be a starting quarterback. Maybe go in and be a wildcat for somebody, like a really big upgrade, like type wildcat type of a player. Get him his set of plays, coming kind of like what the 49ers did with Kaepernick, when Alex Smith was still there playing quarterback. I could see that somebody benefiting or using Jalen Hurts like that and it being a big strength. If you use, and it's sparingly when appropriate. But Jalen Hurts has him and his staff, or him and the Eagles coaching staff have figured out how to utilize it. There's no set thing you have to do anymore to be a quarterback in the NFL. It's what does this guy do well? What is he great at? Let's find a way to utilize that. Let's find a way to use his strengths. Philly's done that. Philly, they did it last year, and of course they bombed in the playoffs against Tampa Bay, I believe it was. But I mean, but they got there as a 9-win team, I think. They look like they've improved. AJ Brown joining has been a big addition. He had that monster week 1. He had a good game last night too. But yeah, he had the monster week 1. By the way, the Titans could have used him last night, right? I love me some Traylon Burks, and I know they want him to kind of be the replacement, but he's just not ready yet. He's just not ready to be that guy yet. But the Eagles, man, they looked really good against what I thought was a really good Vikings team last night. Can they keep that up? I don't know. Then the Vikings will bounce back. Kirk Cousins is just Kirk Cousins, man. He's going to have those games, especially on primetime. He's very hit or miss. That's why it's very frustrating if you're a fan of the Vikings or any team that Kirk Cousins has been on, because he's done that. I mean, he's just shown a pattern of doing that his entire career. But he'll have some games where you're like, yeah, okay, that's a quarterback, right? But then he has games like last night where it looked like a first time Madden player goes on and plays all Madden on all Madden mode and is just dropping back to pass every play, trying to run the same play over and over again and it not working, getting picked or getting sacked or whatever. That's what it looked like last night with Kirk Cousins. It was bad all around. So yeah, it I don't know what to think of the Vikings other than this is kind of what we've been accustomed to seeing the last couple of years. But I think they are close. If I have to say, I think they're closer to the team they were in week 1 than what we saw from them last night. But the takeaway is Philly's better than I thought they would be. Philly looks good. Philly looks like, the clearly the best team in that division, clearly. But look like a team that can actually go win a playoff game or two. We'll see what happens. Try not to drink the water too close to the microphone so y'all don't have to hear me gulping like that. When I listen to it on playback, when all of you do, yeah, you can let me know. Whatever. I'm gonna figure it out one way or another. But Jalen Hurts, former Alabama quarterback, going to another former Alabama quarterback and teammate, actually, Jalen Hurts. Tua, man, Tua and the Dolphins. How about this? Tua and O. The 2-0 Miami Dolphins. Do you like that? Tua and O, got it? Yeah, I don't know. It's good. It's good. Come on, it's good. But yeah, 2-0. You can say he's set up for success with Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and yes, he is. I mean, the Dolphins, they got some players, man. But yeah, the Dolphins looking really good, and they're making Tua look really good. What he had 6 touchdowns, is that right? 6 touchdowns Sunday? Man, I mean, he's stepping up. He's stepping up, but I mean, the organization has also stepped up. They've surrounded him with pieces to be successful. What did we say about Jalen? The organization, coaching, they are utilizing Jalen Hurts' strengths to not only make him better, but in turn make the team better. They've surrounded Tua with the pieces to be successful. You can see why Tom Brady allegedly wanted to go to Miami, right? But yeah, they're utilizing Tua's strengths, surrounding him with pieces that will only help him be successful, and this is the result you're seeing. Bengals need to take notes. They have with the skill set players, they have excellent skill players, the Bengals, but if you can't protect them, doesn't matter. If I'm an organization, if I'm running a football team, if I'm starting a football team, we'll preface it this way instead. I'm starting with the offensive line. The first thing I'm building is the offensive line, and then I'll get a quarterback. I'll get my skill players, and I'm building the defenses up as well during all that. But the first thing I do is I am building that offensive line because it doesn't matter how good of a quarterback you are. If you're on your back every play, it doesn't matter. Andrew Luck's career got cut short because Indy didn't do what was necessary to protect it. And I just don't want that to happen to Joe Burrow. I mean, the Bengals tried. They tried in the offseason. You can't say that about the Colts when Andrew Luck was there. Which, by the way, it looks like a full on whiff by me. Two weeks in, I'd said before the season started, I could see the Colts um, as a dark horse kind of team, and Matt Ryan possibly having a big year. You know, like a resurgence type of year. They don't look good. Man, they don't look good. Matt Ryan hasn't. Colts don't look good. It's rough. Going back to the Dolphins though. Okay. Where would you rank like Jalen Waddle's touchdown dance, the Waddle amongst like to me it's already up there as like one of the best touchdown celebration dances, whatever you want to call it ever. Icky Shuffle is the first one that comes to mind, right? As far as what's the best one. The Waddle's going to be huge, man. It's going to be talked about hopefully for years to come, man. Like I mean, it's fun. He's a great player, and yeah, I hope that's around for many many more years to come. The only thing I would say, lineman, before you run up and like pick him up and do all that stuff, give him a chance to do the Waddle thing first. I know it's exciting, you scored and all that. You want to go celebrate with your teammate as you should, but go like waddle with him instead of going and grabbing him and picking him up. No, let him do his waddle, man. Like that's the thing he does. We'll see how much they listen to that, but that's my only critique there as far as that goes. Quick coffee break, real quick. As I'm doing this, again, check out rhinoraces.com, the premier virtual running series, 5 different races, 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. Guys, it's seriously a fantastic race series, one of a kind. Nothing else is like it out there. Uh, yeah, 5 different races. You run all 5, you get inducted into the Rhino Races Hall of Fame. You receive your Rhino Races Hall of Fame buckle. All your info, your stats, and all that name is there in the Hall of Fame section on the website, rhinoraces.com. Seriously, just a one of a kind race series. Again, the premier virtual running series, Rhino Races. Now, quick coffee sip. And by sip, I mean gulp. But yes, it's been a fun 2 weeks. Pro football. Yeah, it's been football's back, baby. Football's back. We're getting closer to October. Still very hot here in Central Arkansas, but once we hit October, hopefully the cooler weather will start to roll in a little bit. But yeah, it's been a fun 2 weeks of pro football. Jumping to college football, not much has changed. Being an Arkansas alum and fan, I'm going to talk about the Arkansas Missouri State game Saturday in Fayetteville. It was big for multiple reasons. Okay. For those not familiar, Bobby Petrino, former Razorback coach, disgraced coach coming out of Arkansas, after leaving Arkansas. That's what forced him out. But he's the coach at Missouri State, as Arkansas, as they travel to Arkansas to play them. It's Petrino's first game and in Fayetteville in 11 years. So yeah, Hog fans rolled out hoping for a blowout. That was not the case. The Razorback offense played the worst they've ever played under Sam Pittman in the first quarter. Two costly fumbles, one by KJ Jefferson, one by Rocket Sanders at the goal line. Two turnovers, just a awful, awful first quarter. Couldn't have played worse than they did. Arkansas trailed the entire game up until the fourth quarter, and the final score ended up being, better than it looked. Two late scores, one of which was I believe it was a punt return for a touchdown. Can't remember who did it, but it was a heck of a return. And Rocket Sanders and KJ ended up having some pretty good numbers. Another thing, KJ had one pick, but it wasn't on him. Bounced out of Trey Knox's hands and goes right into, he basically just tapped it to the defender, like you see, receivers do from time to time. You hate to see it, especially for the quarterback, because it counts as a pick for him, and it wasn't his fault. So but that was the story. That was the story of how it went. It wasn't just Trey Knox. I mean, KJ had to turn over. Rocket had a very costly one. Defense is very banged up in the secondary. And with Missouri State being a Petrino coach team, of course they're flinging it all over the field. Huge fourth and one call at midfield that resulted in a touchdown for Missouri State. It was close, man. To the point, and Sam Pittman admitted this after the game, which I highly respect that he did. I really respect the fact that he did so. He didn't give you the BS, and that's another thing I love about Sam Pittman. He doesn't go up there and give you the coach's media answer, where he's just he's bullshitting you basically. Pardon my language, but I mean he's BS, just kind of giving you. He's not really telling you what he really thinks. He's just telling you what might sound better and what might sound good in a soundbite or good enough, not making headlines, etc. And he flat out just said he just said, "Yeah, we got outplayed and I got outcoached," and he did. Like everything he said everything he said in the post game interview press conference was true. Petrino outcoached him. Petrino showed, he's still a heck of a coach. And I said this during the game. If beforehand the two coaches switched teams, as in Petrino went and coached Arkansas and Pittman went and coached Missouri State, and of course, if let's just assume players were already familiar with their schemes and all that game plan. Let's just take all that out of it. If the two coaches had were coaching different teams, okay, I'll say it better this way. If the two coaches had switched teams, they were coaching on, Petrino was coaching Arkansas, Pittman was coaching Missouri State. Arkansas Arkansas would have won 60-0. Maybe not that high, but it would have been a 40-50 point game if Petrino was coaching the Hogs and Pittman was coaching Missouri State. And I hate to say that because I like Sam Pittman and I think he's a good coach. But and a heck of a recruiter, that's so much of it. But as far as X's and O's go, Petrino outclassed him in every way in every way Saturday. And again, I hate to say it, love Sam Pittman, and that doesn't change the fact I'm thrilled that Sam Pittman is the Razorback head coach. But Petrino outcoached him. He outcoached him. Had his team more ready than Pittman had the Hogs. But Pittman admits that, and he knows that. But that was my big takeaway. I was watching halfway through and said, man, if the coaches were on different sides, Arkansas would be up 50. Yeah, I had said that verbatim during. But but if you're Arkansas and you're gonna have a bad game, you pick the right time to have it because you got A&M this Saturday at Jerry World. A&M is one. They bounce back with a win. Win over Miami. Yeah, 13 at the time ranked, I believe. So A&M, yeah, they have something to prove. They don't like that 23 ranking. They have something to prove. So Arkansas better be ready. They better be more ready than they were this past Saturday at home because it was not good, man. It was not good, and they didn't get it together till late, at least consistently. And then Alabama after that. So it only gets harder over these next couple of weeks. But if Arkansas shows up, they can compete. They can compete with just about anybody. Now, I don't know how they'll do against Alabama, but they can beat A&M if they show up ready to play. As far as a prediction goes, I'll go ahead and predict. I think Texas A&M wins this one. I'm going to pick A&M. I'll say A&M 38, Arkansas 34. We'll go with that. A&M 38, Arkansas 34. I hope that's not how it turns out. But a lot of experts had Arkansas as a 10-2 team, in the regular season. I don't see that. I saw them as an 8-4 team. That was my prediction, minus the bowl game, of course. But and I'll stick to that. I think they're closer to 8-4 than they are 10-2. They may win. They may go 9-3. And hopefully get a bowl win. But I'd love to see them win Saturday. But if I got to pick, I'm going to go with A&M. I think that loss to App State woke them up. And even though Arkansas didn't lose, that Missouri State scare better have woken them up because I'm sure it did. But still, it's they had to look past them some. They had to be looking at A&M, and Missouri State about made them pay for it. There was a point where I thought Missouri State they may very well win this game. So some of my friends on Twitter and stuff, when they're like, oh, I had never had any doubt. I'm like, well, you should have. If you're watching the game, you should have, because Missouri State outplayed Arkansas. They were out coaching them. All of it. Just Arkansas had more talent, and it eventually caught up. It eventually caught up to Missouri State, and that was the difference. Going back, going back to App State though, what a wild finish there, winning on a Hail Mary. I mean that was wild. those Mountaineers, man, that's a fun football program. They're in the Fun Belt, man. That is a fun football program to see, talk about, etc. It's always a show with them. You would think after nearly beating North Carolina and then upsetting number 6 at the time, Texas A&M, that App State would just roll through their conference, right? No, they had to win on a Hail Mary Saturday. So, gosh, they keep it interesting no matter what, huh? I guess it just wouldn't be exciting enough for them if they had to blow out everybody they played, right? In conference play. I don't know. That was exciting to say the least. I only saw the highlight, but just watching that, you just say, "Wow!" Like there's just something magical about that program. We will jump to, and by I keep saying we. I'm so used to that, right? Take my coffee break as we kind of wrap up this episode here. Ah, but we'll end it on a little baseball. Postseason play is coming up here pretty soon. I believe there's 13 or 14 games left in the regular season. A lot of people thought Paul Goldschmidt would be the contender for like the Triple Crown in the National League, at least. It looks like he's in the top 5 in it all, but it looks like that's pretty much out of reach for him. But Aaron Judge may very well win the Triple Crown in the American League. Right now, he leads the league easily in home runs and RBI with 59 bombs, 127 RBI, and he is 1 point behind the AL leader in average. Aaron Judge hitting 316 right now, and the guy above him is hitting 317. I can't remember his name, but that's kind of wild, right? A 317 average is leading the American League. It's a good average, not knocking it. It's a very good average, all-star average. You hit that your career, you're in the Hall of Fame. But to lead the league, yeah, man. Like Freddie Freeman's hitting, about 330 at least, or in the 320s, the high 320s. I think it's mid to high 320s. But like 317 leading the league, that's pretty wild, man. It's just a sign of the times. I mean, just pitching is it's just so competitive there on the mound. Everybody throws so hard. That's why you just see so many strikeouts. Just so many good pitchers, and there's so many of them. I mean, they keep bringing new ones in, middle relievers throughout the game, closers depending on how the game's going. I get it, but it would be pretty cool to see Aaron Judge in what will surely be an MVP year for him win the Triple Crown. That'd be pretty wild doing it. I mean, hit number two, tie for second in the league at with a 316 average. But it'd be fun to see. And as far as the teams go, Dodgers really look like the team to beat. Every time I check, they're 9-1 in their last 10 games. That's no different this week. What are they? 103 and 44 or something right now, record wise. Houston looks like the team to beat in the AL. But the other thing, my St. Louis Cardinals leading the top of the Central. I believe they're 8.5 games ahead of the Brewers for that top spot in the Central. But obviously, Paul Goldschmidt, the man on that team this year at the plate. Of course, Nolan Arenado still play. Yachty is, still has he still has his legendary moments, right? I mean, future Hall of Famers will do that, but so is Albert Pujols. Pujols sitting at 698, 698 home runs with, again, I think 13 or 14 games left. Can he do it? I'm going to say he does it. If I'm betting money on it, I don't know, but I'm going to say he does it, man. I'm going to say Pujols gets to 700. Tips his cap to the regular season. Like, okay, let's see what we can do in the postseason. What will be his final year? gosh, it's an amazing career by an all-time great. But I'll pay close attention to that, and yeah, I mean, again, October's approaching, playoff baseball. That's another thing to get excited about with October, playoff baseball. But I have covered all I can think to cover tonight, folks. It's been an interesting solo episode. I'd be lying to you if I said I was real into it. And it's not that I'm not into it, but it's hard to do these things solo, especially when you need your water breaks and coffee breaks as much as I do. But we got through it. We'll see what happens next week. Surely my co-host will be back, to help out Bradley Brown. But we will. I, you know, we rocked it solo tonight. Probably do it again sometime because Shoe Booty Sports isn't going anywhere, y'all. We plan to be around for a long time, and if we got to do a solo episode every now and then, more than happy to do so. So until next week, we're gonna get out of here. Oh, by the way, okay, one more thing to touch up on. Did not have this down. The Amazon Prime game Thursday night, last Thursday. And since it's Tuesday, you kind of forget about it, right? At this point. But Chiefs and Chargers, man, what a game, what a showing. And Justin Herbert, man, he got over like Rover for me that game, man. If you weren't in on Justin Herbert like a fan of his, you should be after that. That was a gutsy performance. Just dude, kudos to him, man. That was fun to watch. I'm a Herbert fan now, and it's not that I wasn't before. I really haven't seen him play that much. I just knew he could. I've seen his highlights. I knew he could play. But after watching him and that gutsy performance, getting up, making those throws in those very tight windows that only he and a handful of others on this planet can make, your Allens, your Mahomes, etc. It's yeah, only a handful of guys can do that, and he did it hurt, man, and he was hurting, and you could see it. So yeah, Justin Herbert got over for me that game. That was cool to watch, fun to watch. So I look forward to seeing them moving forward, seeing more of him moving forward. But until then, we're gonna get out of here. Again, we being me, and we should be back, the two of us, next week, next Tuesday, for what will be episode 48 of Shoe Booty Sports. What can I think of for this one? Daryl Johnston. We'll go with that. The Daryl Johnston episode. How about that? Fullback of the Cowboys in their Super Bowl years. If you need to check that one out, Moose. Yeah, Moose was the nickname. Even I probably need to fact check that, but check that. But I believe that's the case. But until then, Grandpa signing out. Again, visit rhinoraces.com. Check out that awesome race series. But until next week, y'all have a good week. Enjoy all this football and hopefully some cooler weather around the corner. Till then, deuces.